Chicago.
Breaking news at this hour, a shooting on State Street right outside our studios.
If you're familiar with this street, it's Walgreens, it's Chicago Theater on the east side. We are on the west side. Ravi Baishwal in the newsroom. He's got more information. What can you tell us?
What up, Messi?
We've got some more video coming in right now. This was shot by our crews out on the street and some of us here with our own phones going to our windows on the west side of the street, as you can see. Take a look now. This is actually moments after this happened. You see, look at that. The people responding to the sound of gunshots right there. People scrambling, running, ducking, going down into the subway. That is the east side of State Street, as you can see. And moments later, police officers, dozens of them, coming down south on State Street in front of the Chicago Theater, running towards the sound of those gunshots. This is right, that Walgreens right there. That's where we saw at least one person had been shot. They were on the ground on the sidewalk. Again, that's the moment right there. We've got this on a little bit of a loop. And another person who was shot that we had seen was on the ground in the northbound lanes of State Street, just in front of that Walgreens. So we have obviously very much a breaking situation. This happening about a half an hour ago, 10 minutes to the top of the hour, just before our newscast, and we were preparing to go on air, obviously, with all the pomp and circumstance of the Holiday Lights Festival, all of it starting up, the lighting of the tree downtown at Millennium Park. And so, as you can imagine, downtown is extremely crowded tonight, with people coming down to celebrate, and then the sound of these gunshots going off. Unmistakable. I was actually up here in the third floor newsroom, and Rob, you and I actually were talking just before you were going down to the studio, and we both heard it, and it was unmistakable. So you see the reaction there pretty much in real time. And again, the Chicago police saying officially all they're saying right now is that 2 people have been shot, and we await more details from them. Also, as far as the people being on the streets now, on State Street, that area has been cleared. A lot of them.
It's so messed up because you can pretty much expect for certain things to happen in certain cities when there's large gatherings, according to Brandon Johnson. This is not abnormal. This is normal in the community. This is normal in Chicago. They probably expected for this to happen anyway. And so I don't know why everybody is acting surprised.
Here in the loop by the Chicago Theater, you may have noticed just a few minutes ago, behind Noel in his live shot, we could see multiple emergency vehicles going by. This was moments before our newscast that we were hearing about it, just blocks away from our studio.
Our Charlie Demar is there live for us now. Charlie, what can you tell us? Joe, an absolute disaster in the loop right now. There is a heavy police presence here. There has been reports of a shooting right here in the loop. We, of course, are at State and Randolph right now. We have seen first responders working on several people in the street who are presumably gunshot victims. Of course, this was an extremely busy night here in the loop. Not only did you have the Christmas tree lighting in Millennium Park, you also had the Chris Kindle Market that was just letting out. We are hearing that the shooting happened at about 9:50. So just about 10 minutes ago, 10-15 minutes ago, reports are that Chicago police were monitoring a group of young people in the loop. They had their eyes on them, and at some point, this shooting happened. There were thousands of people here in the loop tonight. You can still hear sirens and first responders coming. We have seen at least 2 victims being attended to right here in front of the Walgreens. We are steps from the Chicago Theater. It is a chaotic scene here right now. Multiple people shot. Again, a very busy night here in the loop. The Chris Kindle Market was going on along with the tree lighting. So thousands of people.
I'm going to switch over really quickly, and I want to share with you guys Brandon Johnson's response to the whole situation and what he had to say. Again, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications.
There was another shooting at 140 South Dearborn, where there were 2 additional victims. One of those victims, a 14-year-old, sustained multiple gunshot wounds and died. There were 5 guns that were recovered. No parent certainly wants to get that terrible, life-altering call. It is senseless violence like these shootings that makes us all feel unsafe. And it has left too many families in Chicago reeling. Incidents like last night set us back as a city, and it evokes fear. Our young people have to understand that they should not attend these unauthorized events that have been advertised on social media.
It's funny, the police and all of these agencies supposedly that are underfunded in Chicago are aware of all of this stuff happening before it happens. Because if you don't think that the police officers are following certain people and looking at certain trends and seeing what's happening on social media, they already know what's going to happen before it happens. They know what people are looking to do. And you know what they're not going to do? They're not going to cancel what happens downtown. They're not going to ask President Trump for additional assistance in making sure that they keep Chicago safe. They're not going to work with the FBI to remove more guns off the street. We haven't even heard anything from DC. Have y'all noticed that? We haven't heard nothing from Memphis. We haven't heard anything from DC. We haven't heard anything since the National Guard and the Trump administration has worked on keeping those cities safe. We haven't heard anything, nothing over in DC. None of that stuff. None of that stuff. And you have a teacher, and this is why we say that we measure things based off of results. We don't care about your resume, nigga. We don't care about, what you advocated for. We don't care about none of that. The only thing we care about is the ability to get results. And now they sit here in a press conference because at least one person died in multiple shootings in Chicago. And you know what the worst part about it is? They're down so many police officers, but then they can't actually fix the budget. So because they're trying to tax people because they have a $1.6 billion budget deficit in Chicago, and the school systems is down with a $734 million projected budget deficit, and you have a shortage of police officers in which they're asking them to shave $90+ million from their budget. When you have a large gathering, something like downtown or the tree lighting, you can't even provide adequate protection in the neighborhoods because they're so short on public safety. They're short on public safety.
They are extremely dangerous due to the number of individuals that may be carrying weapons, especially semi-automatic weapons. And as much progress as we have made, there are still far too many guns on our streets. And for these young people who have engaged in these incidents, you have put yourselves and your friends at risk. Because of the reckless behavior of a few individuals, we have families devastated, and our downtown residents are hesitant to leave their own homes. I'm the first person to recognize that we have more work to do in this city to provide safe spaces for our young people. But these types of violent gatherings can never.
Why is everything a gathering, bro? Why is everything a gathering? Why is everything a gathering? La La Land, please stop emailing me. You email me. I'm gonna address that in a minute.
Be an alternative, nor can they be normalized. We need parents, guardians, and other responsible adults to do their best to accompany young people in large, unsanctioned after gatherings where weapons are likely to be present. There's always more we as adults can do to make sure that we know where our kids are and what they are doing. I recognize this feels like emotional whiplash. After this incredible celebration last night where thousands of people gathered, Chicagoans who were enjoying our tree lighting ceremony, thousands of Chicagoans came to express their love for our city. It was peaceful. It was a joyous evening, a vision of the best of Chicago. The holiday season is a time when we come together as a city. It's when we spend time with our families and our loved ones. This is the opposite type of behavior that anybody wants to see. We have too many guns and too many young people who don't value their own lives or the lives of others. And when we have a setback like this, it just reminds us of the long road that we have to build the city that we all want to live in.
Yeah, that train has sailed a long time ago. I think that there's more bad than good coming up for the people in Chicago. And I know that y'all don't want to hear that. I know that y'all bothered by the idea that somebody is holding this city accountable and holding the politicians that you guys voted for. When people tell me, Anton, don't talk about the city, don't talk about the violence, don't talk about the fact that people continue to kill people over in Chicago and they shoot at large gatherings and the police has zero suspects in custody. I say, well, if you didn't want me to talk about it, then you should have voted differently. If you didn't want me to talk about it, you should have got better leadership. If you didn't want me to talk about it, you should have made better decisions. If you didn't want me to talk about it, you should have got involved. If you didn't want me to talk about it, you should have raised your children more effectively. I'm just reacting to what's going on. You are the people that committed the crimes. You elected your mayors. You voted against your own best interest, but you want me to close my eyes and bury my head in the sand and not look at it.